Hey there, YouTube. This is Michelle Baruch coming at you on an extremely warm Wisconsin evening. Hope you're doing well out there. I normally do a video on Friday afternoons when my son takes a nap and we're in the middle of doing errands and our regular Friday ritual of stuff. But I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do one tomorrow afternoon. So I thought I would try and do one tonight, and then if opportunity presents tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow too. So let me tell you a little story. A couple months ago, the end of March, I did my first video here. March 25th, I think, was my first video. March 25th, 2018. Where I wanted to start my journey into the pipe smoking world. So I ordered a couple tobaccos, one of which being some whiskey Cavendish to start with, and some Lane 1Q. And that was the beginning for me. Now, I had been watching for months before that videos on how to smoke, what to smoke, how to pack, how to light, all those things. And a lot of presenters don't necessarily agree on the same stuff. There's some commonality, but I can say the one thing almost universally that everybody agreed upon was that as a new pipe smoker, you should probably start with either Lane 1Q or Frog Morton Cellar. And so, lo and behold, I go to buy my first set of tobaccos. For some reason, Frog Morton Cellar doesn't seem to be available. So I ordered the Lane 1Q and the whiskey Cavendish, and that seems like a good start, and it was. But then I started watching videos that weren't so instructional, foundational. They were tobacco reviews. And turns out, after watching some of those, Frog Morton isn't getting made anymore, and people were snatching it up, and it's just something I'm missing out on starting pipe smoking at this point. And I was sad about that at first. But as I smoked more blends and as I watched more reviews, I wasn't as sad about it anymore. It's just the time that I'm starting to smoke. If I had started smoking at any given year, some point in any recent decade, there would be things like this. Like last night, the Three Nuns. The version that I got to try for the first time last night is the current MacBaron formula, the MacBaron production of it. Before that, it was Orlick that made it, and before that, Imperial Tobacco made Bell's Three Nuns. And it's changed each time, and it just so happens this is the version of it that I get to smoke. Now, I'm certainly not sad about that. The Three Nuns that I smoked was amazing. I can't mourn over a tobacco that I've never tried. I like the one I have. So, that being said, Derek Tant and a couple others have embarked upon what Derek at least calls the Frog Morton Replacement Project, which I think is interesting. I may or may not ever have the opportunity to smoke the real stuff. But I am still excited to try the things that everybody's trying to find as a good replacement for it. So with that in mind, I did order myself some Cult Embassy, which is supposed to be, by a couple accounts that I've watched, to be a reasonable facsimile, though not entirely dialed in to Frog Morton Cellar. Now, that of course is what I'm smoking here in my Brylon. because this is an aromatic, I really don't want it anywhere near my briar pipes. I'm going to keep those. Most of my briar is pretty much for Latakia, things that contain Latakia, Englishes, Balkans, etc. And, that way they're ghosted by the Latakia, and that's how I'm going to dedicate them. But the Brylon and the corncob, that's fine, they don't ghost. So, got this in my Brylon. I'm having a little fun with matches tonight instead of a lighter. It's a little harder to do the charring light with the matches, I think, but I think it's a little easier to do the touch-ups. So now, how do I feel about the Embassy? Out of the tin, it smells really sweet and interesting. I would almost say mapley, though I know it's supposed to be flavored with vanilla. Which is an interesting choice. I don't think they were trying to be Frog Morton. Not that I'm aware of. And I know Frog Morton Cellar is flavored with whiskey. Also, I know Frog Morton Cellar only has, Virginia Latakia, and I think that's it, Virginia Latakia, and then the whiskey flavoring. Whereas the Cult Embassy has Burley, Virginia Latakia, and Black Cavendish. And vanilla flavoring instead of the whiskey flavoring. I think, the one thing that I would compare it to from my cellar of tobacco is obviously the Lane 1Q. It's the only thing I have that's really quite like this. And that, I think, is sweeter than the Embassy. A little more cloying, though both are incredibly pleasant. I discovered, as you can probably see pretty early on, that I like my Latakia, I like my bolder and more intense things, and I also like my vapors. But I do like aromatics. I just think I like them as a occasional change of pace. That being said, this is really delicious after some of the things I've been smoking lately. So it's lovely. For those of you who, follow me and are connected with me and comment back and forth with me, tell me if you've had the Frog Morton, what do you think? How do you think the Embassy compares? I have a feeling it's like comparing apples and freeways. They're probably not actually a really close comparison. It's just a nice tobacco in its own right. Anyway, those were my my thoughts. I wanted to tell that story about the Frog Morton because it really did kind of bum me out and make me sad at first. And, of course, Dunhill ceased operations on a lot of their stuff at the same time, too. And their stuff is more slowly becoming extinct. You can still get a hold of Nightcap or Early Morning Pipe or some of the other classic Dunhills. If you look in a couple places, you can find them. And there isn't quite the out-and-out brigandage that's going on with people profiteering. Is that a mixed metaphor, brigandage and profiteering? Anyway, the pillage going on with those who acquired huge stockpiles of Frog Morton and are now making, a killing, selling it to everybody who's sad that it's not produced anymore. So there you go. That's my Thursday night video. God willing, I'll be here tomorrow afternoon at some point. But if not, I will see you when I see you. You guys have a fantastic Friday, a fantastic weekend. Be very well. Stay smoky. Sei gesund.